Hey, Jason here from JCR Cars. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm kicking off a video series called Ferrari in Context. This is where we slow things down and we look at Ferrari through history, engineering, owning, and the reality of it. Now, we're not here to criticize it and we're not here to defend it, but we're here to understand it. And we're going to use this first episode to look at something that happens and traps more would-be Ferrari owners than anything else. The idea of a cheap Testarossa. Now, if you've ever looked at ads online for a Testarossa, you've probably seen at some point ones that are selling below the market value. And you're probably thinking, this is my chance to finally own a real legend. But the real truth is, there's no such thing as a cheap Testarossa. There are only Testarossas with unpaid bills. The Testarossa was in fact expensive by its design. When it came out in 1984, it was the flagship for Ferrari. Now, it was never designed to be simple, just like it was never designed to be economical. It was designed to be dramatic. It has a 4.9-liter flat 12, complex cooling, tight packaging, and fairly advanced engineering for its time. But Ferrari never asked the question, how easy will it be to maintain this car 40 years from now? Instead, they ask, how far can we push the envelope with this car? And that decision has followed the car for the rest of its life. So if you find a cheap Testarossa and the mileage is low, well, that should send off a warning sign right away. Low mileage and museum quality, this may sound reassuring, but with the Testarossa, it usually means the opposite. Rubber components are likely dried out. Seals will have hardened, fuel systems will varnish, and cooling hoses will crack. Not to mention, electrical contacts tend to oxidize. Now, any Ferrari prefers to be driven regularly, but a Testarossa that's been sitting for the better part of 15 to 20 years, well, that's going to cost well more than one that's been driven regularly and properly maintained. Time is not always kind to complex Italian machines. And then there's always the question that nobody wants to talk about, mileage. Cars of this era with low mileage does not always mean that it's authentic mileage. Odometers can be disconnected, gauges can be swapped out. So when you look at the car, you need to ask yourself, do the kilometers really match the condition of the car? Look at pedal wear. Look at the driver's side seat bolster. Look at the steering wheel finish and look at the switchgear. Now, they will often tell a more honest picture of the car than the odometer ever will. After all, low mileage is not proof, condition is. Now, what actually matters more is, has the engine been out of the car? It has to be out for the timing belts to change that, and how many times has it been done? How about the clutch? Has it been replaced? In the cooling system, have the hoses been replaced or the water pump? How about the suspension? Has it been refurbished since the car has been new? The electrical system, has there anything been changed on it? And really, really important, has the car ever been in an accident? Is the original service book in the car? Are there invoices with it or the workshop records? A cheap car almost never has this documentation with it. Now, if the service book and records are with the car, you should always look a little bit deeper to understand where was the work carried out, because there's a big difference between that done by a certified Ferrari workshop and a general mechanic. The Ferrari certified workshop, of course, will use correct parts, the correct processes, and they will document everything correctly. And of course, they know classic Ferraris like a Testarossa inside and out. That documentation directly impacts the resale value and the long-term ownership cost of the car. Now, two cars may look identical, but one can be worth substantially more purely because who maintained it. Another point that cannot be overlooked is the interior. Now, this will tell the real truth of the car. A Testarossa, or like any Ferrari of this era, the interior will age poorly if it's not taken care for properly. Now, common issues are driver's side bolsters cracking, warped leather or hardened leather. The dashboard will often shrink or become faded and discolored, and of course there's failing stitching. Now, a car can look great in photos and still require a €20,000 restoration. Now, that's not cosmetic vanity. That's simply the cost of bringing the car back to its original standard. And then there's the production reality. Now, the Testarossa feels rare, but it was built in relatively large numbers compared to more collectible Ferraris, almost 10,000 for the whole family. Now, that does really matter because scarcity drives long-term value. The Testarossa is iconic, it's desirable, it's emotionally powerful, but it is not rare. It is exclusive, but it's not scarce. For many years, Testarossas were worth relatively little versus the cost to maintain them. Now, owners looked at a service bill between 15 and 20,000 euros on a car worth 50 to 70, and they chose to postpone the work. Now, that's how deferred maintenance started to accumulate, and that's why there's so many Testarossas out there with expensive problems. Now, in the last 5 to 6 years, values of the Ferrari Testarossa have finally started to move up. Now, Forza magazine in 2013 said that the Ferrari was worth between 35 and 55K. A 512 TR was between 60 and 80, and a 512M was between 125 and 150. In 2021, the Testarossa was between 85 and 125, so 140% jump. The 512M or 512 TR was between 125 and 150, and the 512M was between 275 and 500. In Europe, 2024 and 25, Maranello World said that the Testarossa is now worth between 95 and 185. The 512 TR is between 140, 270, and finally the 512M is between 240 and 450K. Now, why does this change the math? Well, in 2013, that timing belt change represented between 10 and 15% of the car's total value. Fast forward to now it's only 2 to 3% of the car's value. So now it makes sense to do those major services, the timing belt, look at the cooling system, even look at the interior. Of course, only if the car is worth saving. A cheap Testarossa is not cheap because nobody wants it. It's cheap because major services are overdue. Maintenance has been deferred and problems are being hidden. Now, typical real-world costs for a Testarossa, a clutch is going to cost you 5,000 euros. Brakes typically 1,500 per axle. Timing belts are going to be at least 4,500 euros plus. Exhaust systems, 5,000 euros is the typical place you're going to be looking at. Suspension refresh is between 5 and 10,000 euros. Cooling system rebuilds are easily 5 figures. Injection systems are going to be several thousand. Gearbox issues, if you have them, hopefully not, but it's going to be 10,000 euros plus. I recently did the pop-up headlights on my car. That was 1,900 euros. And a proper paint refresh, if we're talking about more in the car from a Ferrari certified shop, is going to be starting at 25,000 euros. One more thing that people rarely talk about when you buy a cheap Ferrari, especially a Testarossa, time. Because a cheap Testarossa is very often the car that spends a lot of time not driving. It's going to be in the garage, waiting for parts, waiting for your specialist to look at it, waiting for parts that potentially are no longer supplied or need to be reproduced. So the real irony here is the car that you originally bought as a real bargain, your dream Ferrari, ends up sitting and waiting as the driving season passes you by. And that's not the reason why you buy a Ferrari. So this doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a Testarossa. It means you should only buy one of these cars if you really understand what it is. A Testarossa makes sense for someone who understands that maintenance is part of the ownership experience, is comfortable working with specialists, values documentation and originality, and wants these experience more than the illusion of a bargain. So if that's you, a well-sorted Testarossa can be the most rewarding Ferrari you'll ever have. But if you're looking for a cheap way into the world of Ferrari, this is not the car for you. If you only remember one thing from this video today, remember this, that the cheapest Testarossa is almost never the least expensive Ferrari to own. Part of what I do is help people to understand the difference between the idea of owning a Ferrari and the real reality of it. So if you're thinking of buying a classic Ferrari or a Testarossa and you'd like to make a more informed decision, you will find my contact details below. This was Ferrari in Context. Thanks for watching.